All right, folks. Shalom and welcome to the Yishai Fleischer Show. We are broadcasting live from Judea to the world, and you're a part of it wherever you are. Shalom to everybody around the world, and everybody is feeling something today. Anybody who cares about Israel or is an enemy of Israel feels something because something's going on, and that is President Trump pushing through a deal. He might call it a peace deal. I'm just going to call it from here on a ceasefire deal. I am very, very suspicious that we're not entering any kind of period of peace, but we are entering some kind of ceasefire. And another way to call it is a hostage release. Hostage release, which is going to be met also with a terrorist release. And so there's a lot of feelings about this moment. Hostage families are extremely happy because their loved ones are probably going to come home either alive or even dead. But bodies are coming home. People who are afraid of terrorists walking the streets of Gaza, at least, or of being freed in Qatar and of Hamas being strengthened again, are concerned. Other people will say to them, no, this deal already has in it the defanging of Hamas down the line, or at least a staged withdrawal of Israel that doesn't have to necessarily go to a second stage. This is big news. What forced Hamas to accept this? Was it a good deal for them, or is it Qatari pressure, or do they think that this is a good time for them to stop and rearm and regroup? Or is this just a way for them to claim victory? Because some people that understand Hamas's way of thinking say for them, this is a big victory, right? They'll be able to say, we were able to hold off the Israelis for 2 years. We held on to their prisoners, their hostages. And because of our smart strategic thinking, we were able to outsmart them both physically on the ground. We all know that they have a better army than ours, but we were able to hold them back. They did not enter Gaza City fully. We held on to their hostages. And we also had a global strategy where we isolated Israel. So, which one is it? Which one is it? Is this a moment to be celebrated, as some are celebrating it and seeing it as a great moment, a great success? Or is it indeed a moment of if not capitulation, but a kind of stalemate, kind of agreement that we will hudna on both sides. Hudna is a kind of Muslim world where we're fighting. We agree to stop fighting. Now, before we go on, let's remember today is also a holiday, the holiday of Sukkot, a special holiday, a holiday of joy, and we're supposed to see things in a good light. At the same time, how are we meant to really see this? Well, let's start with our panel of experts with Brigadier General Amir Avivi, who's the chairman of the IDSF, the Israel Defense and Security Forum, a group of over 35,000 reserve officers. He has held many senior roles in the IDF, and including commanding Battalion 605 and commanding the School of Combat Engineering, amongst many other very important positions in the IDF. Now he's leading the folks that are educating the next generation of the IDF. Brigadier General Amir Avivi, thanks so much for joining us. Simple
My pleasure.
question. Good, bad, where are we at?
Well, when I was watching the dynamics in Washington, what I felt at that moment is that we're witnessing the Yalta Convention 2025. What does it mean? 3 months before the decisive win against the Nazis, it was obvious that the Nazis lost. Maybe the public didn't know that, but the leaders already knew that the Nazis lost, and they convened in Yalta Churchill, Stalin, and Roosevelt, and they discussed two things. One is, how is Germany going to be divided? What's Germany the day after? And the other thing they discussed is the new world order the day after the war. This is exactly what happened in Washington. What we witnessed in Washington was an event where all the parties realized that Hamas lost. It's just a matter of weeks, months, 2, 3 months, and it's game over. And therefore there was an understanding that this is the time, since there is a decisive win, to discuss the same thing. Two things. One is what is Gaza the day after. How is Gaza going to be divided? And it will be divided in a way because Israel is going to retain control forever of certain areas. The Americans want a piece of Gaza for their program. So Gaza will undergo changes. And also, what's the new world order? What is this alliance? Peace agreements, Abraham Accords that will extend all the way to Indonesia. Now, the big question is, okay, what happened with Qatar, Turkey, that are suddenly, involved and coercing Hamas to basically surrender? And the answer is that they understood that they are facing two possible scenarios. One scenario is that Israel will go, all the way and defeat Hamas. And in this scenario, Israel defeating Hamas, by the way, with the help of Gazan militias that are fighting Hamas as we speak with Israeli assistance, this might be a devastating blow on the whole Muslim Brotherhood axis. It might endanger the whole axis of Qatar and Turkey. They might completely lose Hamas and no prisoners will be released and it will be game over. So they chose the other path, and the other path means for them that they can save parts of Hamas, take them out of Gaza, even release leadership, release prisoners, um, life sentence prisoners, and rebuild Hamas, maybe somewhere else, looking at the continuous fight of this radical axis against Israel. This reminds me also of the end of the first Lebanese war, when Israel went into Beirut. Arafat understood that it's game over at this stage, took his people on ships and went to Tunis, left Lebanon. He understood that he lost Lebanon, but they knew how to rebuild themselves in another place. And this is why we were able to reach a deal, which is amazing. It basically says we don't discuss anything before all the hostages come back. Now, the only leverage Hamas has is the hostages. That's it. Without the hostages, they're nothing. They're done. Israel is free to do whatever we want, to destroy them. And that to give the hostages from the beginning. And then, and Israel, putting aside the amount of prisoners that we are releasing, looking at Gaza, all that was required for Israel to get the hostages is move from a 80% control of the Gaza Strip to 65-70% control. So they are giving us the hostages. We are still holding most of Gaza and certainly the most strategical places, overlooking the seashore. And this puts us in a great condition to impose afterwards the disarmament, the militarization of Hamas and all the forces inside Gaza and move forward with the plan to create, a completely different reality in the Gaza Strip. Do we like the idea of releasing murderous terrorists? No, terrible. Are we going to win this war? Yes, in a way we already won it. And it's going to be a decisive win in Gaza. And following that, we'll also see all these peace agreements, and Turkey and Qatar want to be part of this. They don't want to be left aside, especially Turkey that really wants, to be a player in the Middle East with all these Ottoman aspirations they have. Both countries need to be part of this new alliance, and they understand that this is the price they need to pay. And this is the combination of the amazing success of Israel in this war, not giving up amid all the pressure, going, conquering Gaza. And when we reach the point where we are controlling 80% of the Gaza Strip, we are already assigning plans to manage different areas of the 80% of Gaza Strip. Gazans are all in 15% because they are not in Gaza City. And even in this 15%, you have militias fighting Hamas with coordination with the IDF. And this week we saw a militia killing 25 Hamas terrorists and being assisted by Israeli drones.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what's happening, and this is why I understood that that's it. It's game over. The moment we manage to conquer all this area and also move 900,000 Gazans from Gaza City to El Mawasi and the central camps, this created a reality where it's game over and it's only a matter of weeks until we win decisively. And then this created the terms, and this is really the ability of President Trump to see an opportunity, seize it, and use it to really make a big change. Just like Iran. America wasn't planning to attack in Iran, but when we created the opportunity and we destroyed this corridor to Tehran, President Trump seized the moment, saw it as a strategic opportunity, and sent the B-21 to destroy the sites. And here again, Israel created the opportunity with a lot of backup, with a lot of munitions and backup on the international stage of the US. And President Trump seized the moment, said to all the different countries, it's game over, Hamas lost, now we're moving to a new direction, and this is what's happening.
Okay, so Brigadier General Amir Avivi, that is a very positive take that you have, and I love it. And it's certainly commensurate with the feelings of the Chag. This is Jewish victory. October 7th started at the end of Sukkot. 2 years later, the tables have turned. Israel has struck. It has mowed the lawn in Gaza, in Lebanon. Oh, we just lost Amir Avivi. Let's see if we can get him back. We just lost him there. I was just about to challenge some of his questions, some of his assertions, which are great. I love what he's saying. And if you didn't hear what he's saying, he's saying that I'll read this in a second. But what Amir Avivi is saying is that Israel retains control of Gaza. Let's see if we could get him back here. Hold on one second. He's on the road, as you can see, obviously. So Amir Avivi is saying Israel retains control of Gaza, and at the same time, it is getting back the hostages and is ensuring that Hamas is not going to control Gaza and is going to be disarmed. Here we have Amir Avivi again. Brigadier General Avivi, I just want to, can I challenge a little bit? I mean, I love what you're saying, and it's certainly giving me a great, feeling. But let me just ask you, like from the Arab point of view, right? Like, can you hear me? Are you getting me? Yeah? Amir, אתה שומע אותי? אתה שומע? Amir, אתה איתי? I see him, but I don't hear him. Amir, אתה שומע אותי? Okay. In any case, Amir, אתה שומע או לא? Amir. Huh. I see him, but I don't hear. He does not hear me. Okay, let's see if we could try again. Let's see if we could try again to get him back on. In any case, in his mind, everything is this is an opportunity Israel's created with its military, and Trump seizes the opportunity, and the bad guys know it's game over, so they go for a deal. Okay, but I wonder how the Arabs see it. In the meantime, let's watch a news summary from ILTV to get a sense about what this looks like.
2 years and 1 day after the Hamas massacre on October 7th, 2023, we are well on our way to having a monumental hostage for ceasefire deal. The first phase of the Gaza peace plan is now agreed on by both Israel and Hamas. U.S. President Donald Trump announced on his Truth Social account that Israel and Hamas have agreed on the first phase of his Gaza plan, which will secure the release of all hostages and begin Israel's withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. There are a lot of discussions and agreements to be passed today, so we will be breaking down the schedule for you. But first, let's go to our ILTV correspondent, Maayan Hoffman, who is standing by right now in Hostages Square in Tel Aviv. Hostages Square is currently bustling with people. Maayan, what can you tell us about the atmosphere there?
Wow, there is total euphoria here at Hostages Square. You know, I have been here many times, and it has been such an environment of pain and suffering. And today there is dancing and singing and guitars and drums, and people really feel that we are on the cusp of seeing those hostages come home. First, the 20 live hostages, God willing, on Monday, and then the rest of the hostages, the hostage bodies, over the next few days after that.
So the deal that is being signed today, the cabinet and coalition will meet today to give their final approvals to the deal. After the Israeli military and political echelon approve the deal, the implementation will begin no later than 24 hours after agreement. Now, within 24 hours, the IDF will begin to withdraw. And within 72 hours, we should be seeing the release of all 48 remaining hostages, both living and dead, with the 20 living being released in the same day. Now, with the withdrawal of IDF forces, a massive campaign to facilitate the entry of 600 humanitarian aid trucks will be underway. Trump declared on Truth Social that, quote, all hostages will be released very soon, calling it, quote, a great day for the world. Trump's announcement follows confirmation from Qatari mediators who claim that all implementation mechanisms have been agreed upon by all sides. Sources say the major issues have been resolved and only procedural details remain. In addition, Trump is expected to travel to the region this weekend and likely address the Knesset in Jerusalem. Trump is expected to land in Israel on Sunday, the day the living hostages are expected to be released. Trump will very likely be in Israel to witness firsthand the execution of his vision for peace in the region. The agreement will see the release of nearly 2,000 Palestinian security prisoners. They include 1,700 that have been detained since October 7th and 250 that are serving life sentences. Now, the names of Palestinian prisoners to be released remain subject to finalization. And as we speak, the Israeli cabinet is meeting to discuss this deal, Trump's deal to bring the hostages home and achieve a ceasefire in Gaza. So we're going to go over the schedule just one more time, just to clarify. So right now the cabinet is set to meet to discuss the agreement from the Israeli side. After the cabinet will meet, the Israeli coalition, the government, Netanyahu's coalition, will meet to send their final approval. And after both of these bodies can approve the deal, they will send their answers in, lock in this deal, and within 24 hours, we'll start to see Israeli withdrawal. And we're already getting some pictures from the Gaza Strip of IDF soldiers beginning to pack up their stations. We're getting some visuals from the Gaza Strip of the IDF soldiers. They are taking these commands of withdrawal lines, the lines, of course, according to the Trump plan. But there are already images that you can see on your screen right now that we got from the Gaza Strip of the IDF packing up their posts and preparing to withdraw to the agreed upon lines. The IDF will obviously maintain some key corridors in the Gaza Strip that the IDF must retain control over to avoid any potential security threats on Israel's border in the future.
Okay, so basically Israel is withdrawing from Gaza. Now, from my position, right, and I'm articulating a strong nationalist position. Sometimes they like to call me ultra nationalist. I ultra love this land. I ultra don't want jihadism to take over. I don't want to see one human hair be hurt, except for bad guys. But I certainly have a responsibility to protect my people and to think about my people. And is this the outcome that I would have wanted to see? No, right? The outcome that I would have wanted to see is full Israeli control of Gaza, eviction of Hamas, certainly, but even a lot of people who are Hamas supporters, and only the retention of those who are desperate to be residents of Israel and will do everything to be loyal residents in our country and to have our land whole with not some kind of Egyptian Qatari control of even parts of the Gaza Strip. And I certainly wouldn't want to release any of the prisoners. I would want total victory. But in lieu of that way of thinking in our country, and this is a democracy, and this is a Jewish democracy, which means it's fractious, and we have a lot of very strong opinions. As General Avivi laid out, there's a positive side here. Let's read some of your super chats because I already have some 4 super chats here. Paradox says, in the Yalta conference, the Allied powers divided the spoils. Now Israel fought alone in Gaza, yet it has to share its victory with the likes of Egypt. The likes of Egypt, i.e. those people who supported the October 7th attack on Israel and basically allowed the passage of arms and goods and other things through tunnels to the Sinai, to Egyptian-controlled Sinai. And by the way, I want to say something. I don't know if this is the right time to say something. Don't give away your land to your enemies, including the Sinai. The giveaway of the Sinai is the original sin. I don't know if this is the time to talk about it today, but giving away the Sinai is the original sin. You gave away the Sinai. You gave away the thing that keeps Africa at arm's length. You allowed Egypt with its nefarious ideas about Israel to loom much closer. You allowed the Bedouins to turn into a bunch of smuggling, do anything for money, criminals, and you lost control of the oil, the gas, the airfields, and the waterways of Sinai. Then that led to the Gaza problem. Don't give away the Gaza in 2005. Don't give it away to your enemies. That's just dumb because they're going to create a terrorist state in your land. Don't do that. And even now, I would say, take your land back and control it. But okay, in lieu of all that, Israel needs a break. The war aims have been achieved in large measure. I don't know. I wouldn't say in great measure. I would say in large measure. All right. Yaziel says, he just sends a super sticker. Thank you very much, Yaziel. God bless you. And David writes, no matter what, we can't allow Hamas to survive. Okay. Got to get rid of those bad guys all the way. I do think that this deal will give some Hamas folks. I wonder how they're feeling. That's what I was going to ask Amir Avivi. How do they really feel? And I want to hear more from you guys in super chats. How do they really feel, the Hamas Gazans? Do they feel like Israel got the better of us? We've been planning a war for years, but it didn't work out. We attacked Israel. We struck at them, but they struck back hard. And Hezbollah, that was going to launch 100,000 missiles, somehow petered out. And Iran launched their big intercontinental rockets, and somehow that didn't work out. How do you think the enemies of Israel really see it? PC writes, hi, Yishai, I have little faith in this deal lasting. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm happy you're saying that. I don't want this deal to last. I want to get those hostages out and then get in there and cream the rest of anything that smells like Islamic Brotherhood, Jihad, what are they called? Islamic Jihad, the Popular Front, the PFLP for the Liberation of Palestine. Get rid of all of them and make your land whole, united, safe, and prosperous. But okay. I think that the political pressure, if indeed these hostages come home, although I want to tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep a hostage or two. They have a lot of games that they play. They're really, don't forget who you're dealing with. Let's see how ABC News gives us a sense of yes, but for the Hamas Israel ceasefire.
Forget that Hamas is an organization that it sets itself out to achieve two things. One is the destruction of the state of Israel, and the other is the establishment of a Palestinian state.
Well, thank you very much. Finally, somebody in the mainstream media lays it out plainly. So plainly that it's like so plain that it's like a big plain nose on your plain face. These guys don't want to have a deal with us. They don't want some kind of understanding. They don't want to find a modus vivendi. Right now, it's a hudna. They want to stop the war so they could get back to strength. And if Israel's smart, it'll know how to deal with that. But at least ABC finally says clearly that what Hamas wants is to destroy Israel.
There is nothing in this 20-point plan that leads them any closer to that. And you're asking what is regarded as a terrorist organization to vote itself out of existence. And I think the real fear, and you'll hear that here in Israel, is that what they're doing is playing for time. And the question is, President Trump has presented himself, and we saw this again in his post on Truth Social, as being impatient, that the clock is ticking, they need to respond yes or no. And actually what we've got is a kind of yes but moving the goalpost. They're agreeing to some of the elements in there, but they seem to be adding their own conditions. And there's a lot of detail there that isn't mentioned. They say that they're, in principle, ready to agree to the release of the hostages, according to the exchange formula contained in President Trump's proposal. But they say, provided that the field conditions for the exchange are met. And of course, it's not clear exactly what those field conditions are. They say that they're ready to immediately enter in negotiations through the mediators. Well, again, President Trump's proposal doesn't envisage a further negotiation. It is an emphatic take it or leave it proposal. They also say that they renew their agreement to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body of independents, what they call technocrats. Again, President Trump's proposal doesn't talk about a Palestinian body. It talks about an international body with Palestinian consultation. But
okay, so you see that we're far from really having it all hammered out. It could very well have a different. There's still a lot of bumps along this way. And I'm talking about for those, just for the deal as it's proposed, right? And remember, Hamas are big players. They'll love to play around. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. And also, I think to myself, does Hamas is they really going to release all the Israeli prisoners? It's hard, the hostages. It's hard for me to believe that because they'll have that's their last cards that they're going to play. The minute that's done, they're really done for.
Primarily involving Arab and Muslim countries, as well as this kind of technocratic authority, including the former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. And it kind of kicks the rest of the issues down the can. One of the Hamas leaders has been interviewed by the Al Jazeera channel and specifically was asked about this concept in President Trump's peace plan, whereby as soon as it's agreed upon, there is a 72-hour window for the release of all the hostages. This particular leader of Hamas saying delivering the captives and remains within 72 hours is theoretical and unrealistic under the current circumstance.
So you see what I'm saying? Like, there's so much excitement to see these hostages come home, but is it really realistic? Hard to know. Very hard to know. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I am not. I think that Hamas is a wily enemy. I think that in their mind, their survival is imperative, and that they'll always think that they're victorious as long as they survive. They'll do anything in order to get another chance to survive and to thrive for the next day. And so therefore, I doubt they're going to be able to release. They'll be like, I can't find them. We don't know. So they'll keep playing the game. They'll keep turning the knife in the back. That's what they're good at.
And this is what I fear here. I think everyone wants this to be as positive as possible because, as you said yourself, everyone wants this to be over. They want peace to Gaza, they want development to Gaza, they want an end to the war. Israel wants it, the Palestinians want it, the surrounding countries want it.
We know that there have been proposals and agreements in the past. Hamas has found reasons to delay, and then ceasefires have fallen apart. Is this what leads us to believe this could be different in any way?
Well, I think in part because of the overwhelming support for this ceasefire agreement. And it's important to point out, not only is this of benefit to Israel, it is of benefit to the Palestinian people. This will be a sea change in their current situation, not just the 600 plus trucks of humanitarian assistance going into Gaza, but a plan for a new governance in the future, a plan to essentially rebuild Gaza that would be billions of dollars contributed by many in the region to do so. It is a very big step for the Palestinian people and ultimately could lead to a two-state solution in a Palestinian state if it was done in accordance to that plan that was obviously in keeping with the Israeli security concerns. But if they agree to this, and they also get amnesty under this agreement, the remaining Hamas fighters could literally lay down their weapons and get amnesty. So there is benefits to every side of this. Let's hope that it actually holds and we can see this being agreed to finally by both sides of this conflict, and we can see an end to it.
You know, that guy at the end there was a former CIA guy, and I'm just like, what did you go like? Is there an N in CIA for the word naive? Like, what are we even talking about? Like, do you really think so? Well, they mean amnesty for Gazan fighters to leave the Gaza Strip and go to Qatar, Turkey, other places. So, writes Chokemeister, writes, there's already a two-state solution. It's called Jordan. Right. So now they're still talking about a two-state solution. Again, see, they always want to come back to this thing. And I'm always like, why can't we get to plain thinking? Choke writes, there's already a Palestinian state. It's called Jordan. Israel's a tiny country. We've already tried giving away Gaza to the bad guys. Where did that lead to? Nothing good. Nothing good. We can't give away our land, and we can't make a two-state solution in this tiny land. And then because it's unjust, because it's ungodly, because it's anti-historical, and because it leads to jihadism taking over our land. So that's not going to work. And I'm amazed. Okay, let's see. Reb Mordechai writes, Yishai, foreign ministry diplomat said to me it was the best deal we have insufficient soldiers to conquer Gaza. I told him my sons in Gaza told me that they were being held back. I mean, if anybody believes for a second that Israel couldn't really conquer Gaza, that's foolish. Of course we could have conquered Gaza. The thing is 400 square kilometers. Israel, all you had to do was be hard, right? All you had to do was turn off the electricity, turn off the water, and be like, we are besieging this thing until we bring it down. Paradox writes, what General Avivi literally said was that Israel was weeks away from defeating the Muslim Brotherhood, and Qatar and Egypt used this deal to stop it. That's right. But what he literally said was, and this forced Qatar and Egypt to jump in and to take steps in order to ensure that they survive. Is it that Israel did an amazing job fighting and had a friend in the White House that was able to cajole a deal? Or is it that Israel has a problem getting rid of its enemies, cannot destroy its enemies fully, doesn't want to take up its own land, doesn't know how to deal with minorities living in our land, and therefore we just want somebody else to rule it, and that we don't want to listen to God? Which one is it? I think that there's a truth in both. But because it's a holiday, I'm going to tell you the good news. I'm going to tell you the good news. Because it's a happy holiday, I'm going to tell you the good news. The good news is that Israel is internally stronger. There are many reports of more religion, more yearning for God in the Israeli body politic. There's what we all know, that Israel is now a fighting force. Its young officers are trained to fight, meaning to say Hamas's attack hardened Israel, toughened Israel, and we were much more divided beforehand. Now we're much more united. So I see a lot of positive steps. Do I see this war ending the way I would have liked it to end, with Israeli flag over Gaza, with not one Hamasnik being alive, with hostages being released militarily? No. But do I see a stronger Israel? Yes, in all fronts except for one, which is our international relations. That needs to be repaired. I think it needs to be repaired through more clarity and more vision that makes sense, and a yearning for bigness and clarity of that. I think that that's what will lead to it. Let's do some more videos that will give us a sense. Here's a Hebrew-Israeli video that talks about how Trump prepared for this peace signing with heavy pressure to end the war on all parties.
משך נכנסות לשלב הקריטי, המשלחות מעלות את דרג הייצוג ומשגרות נציגים שיכולים לקבל החלטות.
All right, we turn our attention now to the Middle East, where indirect peace talks between Israel and Hamas, they appear to be gaining momentum.
מהצד האמריקני הצטרפו סטיב ויטקוף וג'רד קושנר, שליחיו הבכירים של הנשיא טראמפ. ישראל שיגרה לשארם את רון דרמר, ועליהם הצטרפו ראש ממשלת קטר וכן נציג בכיר של נשיא טורקיה ארדואן. המטרה ברורה, להתגבר על הפערים בתוך יומיים.
We are very close to making a deal on the Middle East that will bring peace to the Middle East. After all of these years of millions and millions, tens of millions of people being killed, there's a chance to bring peace to the Middle East.
חמאס עדיין עומד על דרישותיו. חליל אל-חיה, ראש צוות המשא ומתן ומי שהיה יעד לניסיון ההתנגשות הכושל של ישראל, מסתובב ברחובות שארם א-שייח עם שומרי ראש צמודים. הפלגים בעזה משדרים גם הם נימה חיובית באשר לאפשרות להגיע להסכם.
هناك بنودا يمكن التعاطي إيجابيا حيالها وأولها بند تبادل الأسرى الذي يمكن أن يتم إنجازه في الأيام القليلة القادمة.
הרחק משם, בבית הלבן, הנשיא טראמפ ממשיך לדחוף בכל הכוח לעסקה ורומז לערבויות אמריקניות לכך שישראל תעמוד בתנאים.
Well, the primary guarantee is once this deal happens, if it does happen, look, they're in negotiations right now, we are going to do everything possible. We have a lot of power, and we're going to do everything possible to make sure everybody adheres to the deal.
אמש, ביום השנה השני למתקפת 7 באוקטובר, ערך טראמפ בבית הלבן את שורד השבי עידן אלכסנדר ואת משפחתו של החלל החטוף עומר נאוטרה, שניהם אזרחים אמריקנים ישראלים.
סיפרנו שאנחנו, כמו כל המשפחות, מאוד בלחץ, ומאמינים שהוא והאנשים שלו כרגע במצרים או בדרכם למצרים יצליחו להביא את העסקה.
עידן אלכסנדר, החטוף האחרון ששוחרר, ישוב בקרוב לישראל ויחזור לשירות צבאי.
Next month, God willing, I will return to Israel. I will once again put on the IDF uniform. My story does not end with survival, it continues with service.
זאת הפגישה השנייה של טראמפ עם עידן אלכסנדר, הפעם הוא איחל לו הצלחה בהמשך שירותו הצבאי. טראמפ הבטיח למשפחות שההסכם קרוב, ואמר כי היממות הקרובות תהיינה מכריעות.
הוא הוכיח לכולנו כבר שזה בנשמתו ושהוא מאוד רוצה להביא את המשבר הזה לסיום, אין לנו אלא להאמין בו.
הנשיא האמריקני לוחץ לסיכום מהיר של העסקה והנחה את שליחיו לפעול למטרה זו. ברקע ממתינה לו הזמנה לבוא ולחגוג את האירוע אם וכאשר יקרה.
أنا بدعو الرئيس ترامب في حالة الوصول إن شاء الله لاتفاق انه يحضر توقيع هذا الاتفاق في مصر.
טראמפ חובב טקסים ורואה בהסכם המתגבש הישג אישי שלו, לא מן הנמנע שישקול להיענות להזמנה. נתן גוטמן, וושינגטון.
Okay, so right now there is messages. There are messages that Trump is coming to Israel on Sunday to the Knesset to take part in this deal. As the news report said, he likes those kind of events. He likes big events. He wants to do it as a crowning achievement. Then there's this whole talk about constant refrain about the Nobel Peace Prize and is that here? Irene writes, Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm not convinced that Trump really cares about Israel. Can I ask you a question about this Peace Prize thing? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? You know, I'm thinking to myself, we're going to make the Jerusalem Peace Prize and the Jerusalem Prize for Science and stuff like that. And we'll make, instead of a UN, we'll have a gathering of Alliance of Nations out of Jerusalem. Like, why do we care about these old relics? The Nobel Peace Prize. Okay. You don't like my kind. You don't want to give me a prize. We'll make our own prizes. You want to make recognitions? For God's sakes, like make your own recognition. Why does that recognition matter so much? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why that's so important. I do understand that the nation of Israel lives, other than the pummeling that we took in international relations, especially amongst young people. That's really what concerns me. I think that Israel has shown the Arab world, and this is what's interesting to me. What's in the Arab mind? What's in the Arab mind? Is it that, here's two ways I could see how the Arab world can see it. One is that Arabs are like, we have tried to kill Israel for 100 years, and we haven't been able to. And now there's 7 million Jews, and they have a strong economy, stronger than the countries around us, if you take away the oil money. And so, okay, Israel, we attacked it big on October the 7th, and yet here it is surviving. Allah is with the Jews. They're not going anywhere. Sometimes they make mistakes of giving away their land to us, but other than that, they seem to be holding their own. And there's no point in fighting with the Jews. This is a message that I say to them a lot of times, which is like, there's really no point in fighting with us, because you never win. You'll never win, because we're tough, because Allah is with us, and because we're just and right. And even your Quran recognizes these things. So that's one way of looking at it. A different way of looking at it is, no, Israel was unable to defeat the small Hamas entity, and we still have their hostages, and we still were able to outmaneuver them, and we got the world to hate them, and therefore Israel's isolated, and if it wasn't for Trump, they'd be totally isolated, and so therefore we actually showed ourselves to be quite adroit in handling Israel, and Israel shall be destroyed, Israel shall be defeated, Israel shall be shrunken and then defeated. Which one is it? What is in the Arab mindset? I would like to, sometimes I think that the whole war that we have is a war of deflation. Who can deflate whom first? Deflate your feelings that you can win. And I think that we in many ways deflate the Arab goals and have deflated them for 100 years. But on the other hand, I see that there's another way to look at it, where they think to themselves, the Jews are divided. We attacked them. They weren't able to destroy us. We have their hostages, and they want peace all the time, and so therefore they're deflated from really fighting with us. And they haven't kicked us out from Judea and Samaria, etc. So which one is it? Which one is it? Well, the long term is obvious. The long term is that the Jewish people aren't going anywhere. Here's a man, a father of one of the hostages, who had a very powerful message, I think.
אזרחי ישראל, יחד איתכם שמענו את הבשורות המשמחות על השבתם של החטופים, אלו שבחיים ואלה שאינם בחיים.
Okay, along with you, we heard the good news about the return of the hostages, those that are alive and those that are not alive.
בימים הקרובים. יחד עם זאת, אנו שומעים את ההלל והשבח שכולם מפיצים על נשיא ארצות הברית.
But and we hear about the great praise that the president of the United States is receiving.
דונלד טראמפ. אנחנו מבקשים להזכיר לכם.
But we want to remind you and remind everybody.
כן, לכולם. כלום לא קורה פה בגלל דונלד טראמפ.
Nothing happens here because of Donald Trump.
הכל מה שאתם רואים ומה שיקרה בימים הקרובים.
Everything that what you've seen happen and what's going to happen in the next few days.
זה רק בזכות בנינו ובנותינו הגיבורים והגיבורים.
It's only because of our sons and our daughters, the heroes who laid their life down.
שחירפו את נפשם עבור הרגעים אלה.
Who put their lives in their hands and put their lives down for these great moments.
אותם בנים ובנות שיצאו חדורי מטרה.
These are the young men and women who left their houses with a clear goal
להשיב את החטופים.
To return the hostages.
מספיק כבר עם ההודיה המיותרת הזאת לנשיא ארצות הברית.
Enough of this kowtowing to the president of the United States.
עצרו והרכינו ראש.
Stop and lower your heads.
השתתפו בצערנו.
Join us in our mourning and our pain.
והודו לבנים ולבנות שמסרו את נפשם.
And thank the boys and the girls, the young people who gave their lives
להשבתם של החטופים.
For the return of the hostages.
אנחנו בפורום הגבורה לא נעצור ולא נפסיק עד אשר נדע ונראה.
Our group, which is called the Forum of Heroism, will not stand, will not sit by, will not wait. Let me return that a little bit.
עד אשר נדע ונראה שממשלת ישראל מקיימת ההתחייבות שלה שאין חמאס בעזה.
We're not going to stop until we make sure that the Israeli government fulfills its promise to get rid of Hamas and Gaza in toto.
ואין איום מהדרום או מכל חזית אחרת.
And that there's no more threat from the south or from any other theater of operations.
תודה לכם, בנים ובנות יקרים.
Thank you, our dear daughters and sons.
שלנו, שמסרתם את נפשכם עבור המטרה.
That you gave your lives for this important goal.
החשובה הזו. חג שמח.
All right, so he says happy holidays. So the point is that he's saying, don't, you know what I mean? Let's not make this into a Trump thing. There are thousands of Israelis who've been injured and soldiers who lay down their life to fight. And that's who we should be thanking. That's who we should be. That's how we should be. Who we should be remembering and crying. And Uvi said this dude lost his kid in Gaza. Indeed, absolutely. And so he says, like, remember who the real heroes are. Remember who the real heroes are. And I think that's a very powerful video and a very true video about this incredible war that has been fought. And I want to also tell you that we've had also tremendous gains in Judea and Samaria. Tremendous gains in Judea and Samaria of pushing Arabs off of state lands and retaking tens of thousands of dunams and strengthening our position in Judea and Samaria as well. That has been another benefit of this war. And I've been involved in that myself in many ways. So there is a lot that's going on. This war has been a much needed awakening for the Jewish people, a much needed awakening. And we're really celebrating, commemorating, remembering, and stopping and thanking the people that have done so much in the last 2 years to fight. And by the way, I was at the beach. Oh, Gary says, let's see. Gary says Here's an idea, Yishai. You have to invent the Jerusalem Global Peace Prize. It rhymes with Nobel. Oh, Globel. Okay. Well, almost. God bless Israel. Shalom. That's what I was saying beforehand. I was saying that like, why do we like love these international old fogey things? Like, why don't we just make our own, but like maybe Nobel, like not Nobel, like Nobel Peace Prize. Like, who is Nobel? It's like, if Israel would see itself for what it is, you know what I mean? And we, the Jewish people, would give out prizes to people who have made God's name great, who have made this world a better place. That would make a lot of sense, I think. Tony Blair wants to become Lord of Gaza. No doubt there's all kinds of folks that want to jump in. The Qataris and the Turks and the jihadis. I think if I'm a jihadi, I'm like, well, not bad. We were able to strike at Israel, and we were able to get world opinion against them. We were able to work with Russia and China and Iran to take over TikTok. And I say the jihad says to itself, we did okay. Which one is it, really? Which one is it? How do you really know how they think? I need a jihadi online. Is there a jihadi anywhere I could get online right now? I'm sure I could. Let's see some more videos right now. This is an important one. This is a summary of the deal itself.
The issues that are reportedly being discussed include the lines of IDF redeployment proposed by President Trump, which Hamas reportedly has demanded to be revised. A second and more volatile issue is the composition of incarcerated Palestinian arch-terrorists whom Israel will release in exchange for the hostages. Hamas intends to demand that Israel release all of the so-called heavyweight prisoners who have been serving multiple life-term sentences over the murder of countless lives, to include Israelis, Americans, Germans, and other Western civilians. Moreover, Hamas also intends to demand that Israel release members of its elite Nukhba force who were arrested in Israeli territory during the course of and following the October 7th massacre of 2023. President Trump continued by underlining that he does have red lines for Hamas.
No, I have red lines. If certain things aren't met, we're not going to do it. But I think we're doing very well, and I think Hamas has been agreeing to things that are very important.
Meanwhile, in Doha, Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesman Majid al-Ansari refused to voice optimism over implementation of President Trump's plan.
In fact, no sentiment, whether optimistic, pessimistic, or otherwise, can be applied to the negotiations. The negotiations are ongoing. We are committed to this plan as it has been prepared. We are committed to reaching an end to this war. Now, it's early to talk about any alternatives to any plan. We're talking about implementing this plan and applying this plan. All parties have agreed to this plan, so there are no obstacles now in terms of agreeing to the 20 points contained in President Trump's plan. The obstacles now are in implementation.
Okay, Qataris are good at saying a lot of nothing. Like, why don't you just say what you're trying to say? You like the plan, you don't like the plan. I don't know what he's trying to say. He's like, it's like they're professional stallers. Like, what's the bottom line? Are you with it? Are you not with it? Listen, you see my face. I'm like, again, a full, clear victory would have meant the end of Hamas right now and their erasure from the game right now. Okay. And Israeli control of Gaza. Right now, we have 70% control of Gaza. Supposedly, we're supposed to get some of our hostages. We'll see if that's really true. Gideon Sa'ar, our foreign minister, has indeed a very positive take on this deal. Let's see what he says.
Going to go off the rails, and how did President Trump intervene? What role did he play?
Well, I think that President Trump was brilliant taking Hamas answer. When I read it for the first time, I thought, well, it's not really an acceptance. But he took it and not only seized an opportunity, but created an opportunity by saying, well, it's positive. Let's build from there, and eventually it works. So I really think he made
You're talking about
huge.
Last Friday, when Hamas agreed, and it sounded like it was Hamas saying, yes, but. And what did President Trump do at that point?
Well, I think the fact that he looked at it as a positive response, okay, and let's see how we implement, brought us to this point. So I think it was brilliant.
Okay, so there's a lot of brilliance seemingly, but at the same time, Hamas is not totally down and out, and they've managed to survive here. And so we're going to have to see what happens in the next few days. Will the Israeli hostages come out? Will we be giving away folks that should have received the death penalty? Will they be back on the streets? I'm hearing reports that they will not be on the streets of Judea and Samaria or East Jerusalem, but rather only Gaza. That's also not so good. That means that hardcore terrorists are going to be in Gaza. These people shouldn't even be alive, but they're going to be out there potentially. Is Israel going to renege on the second phase of this thing if they see that Hamas is not serious about giving up their weapons, about reforming? I mean, reforming Hamas. Those are just not words that come together. Okay, those are words that just do not come together. You don't reform. There's no reform Nazi, or there's, like the Nazi movement had to be destroyed. And so what is the future of this deal? The future of this deal is that Israel continues to be alive and well, and that the bad guys have not gotten what they wanted to get. What they really wanted to get on October 7th was a big, united attack that included Gaza, Hezbollah, and Iran, nukes on Yemen, missiles, nukes, attacks, ground attacks, breaking through various borders, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And instead, Israel has struck at Gaza and weakened Hamas tremendously, struck and practically decimated Hezbollah. The Syrian regime has been overturned. The Iranians have been pushed back. As I said in previous shows, for Netanyahu, if you are in the Netanyahu mindset, which is that you have to mow the lawn has been mowed. It's been mowed down all the way to the nub. And the project of the Jewish state continues strong. And if you're inside the country, you feel it. It feels strong. And here in Judea and Samaria, it feels even stronger than it did before. No doubt about it. But on the other hand, if you look at it through a different lens, which is, did we make the world a better place for our children? Is it totally safer now for our children? I'm not sure. Judea and Samaria is still full of jihad and Hamas. Iran has deterred, but not down and out. In Syria, there's a jihadi regime that's backed by Turkey. The Muslim Brotherhood, backed by Qatar and Turkey. Hamas is still alive. And a lot of international pressures come down to Israel. Okay. So finally, I guess we have to also say congratulations and thank you to the IDF and IAF and all the security services. And thank you for your amazing self-sacrifice, amazing Israeli soldiers. And at the same time, we have to thank Hashem so much. We have to thank Hashem so much for all that he has done to protect our people, because we have been protected so tremendously. There's been so many miracles that have protected Israel, which, by the way, also should enter into the minds of the jihadists. And they should all be like, God is with them. That's the old school Muslims. They used to be like, Allah is with the Jews. I respect that. People who can look and say, where's God? What's God's will? You know, when mankind looks and says, where's God's will? That's also a powerful thing. Israel continues to survive. The story of Israel moves forward. And as we are in the holiday of Sukkot, I'm sleeping in my sukkah, the so-called sukkah, the booth that we sleep in. We eat outside. We eat in this booth. We sleep there. We hang out there. And it's a very spiritual place. And I was in my sukkah. I think it was yesterday in the morning, and I woke up a little bit early, and the sun, it was just dawn, and the sky was turning colors. And I looked up to through the schach, which is the kind of plant-based roof that we use that has lattice work, or meaning to say openings, and it's partially see-through, and so you gotta, as the Bible says, see God peering in through the lattice work. And I asked God for a message, for an understanding, and suddenly I felt in my heart that I had heard a message, and that message is keep going strong, Jewish people. Keep moving it forward. Keep building. Keep bringing people here. Keep fighting the consciousness narrative war. Keep teaching. Keep loving. And Israel will continue to thrive. There'll be ups, there'll be downs, but Am Yisrael is alive. The nation of Israel is alive, and Israel's alive. And nothing's going to stop this thing. That's what I heard. And that what we have to do, all of us, is just to keep pushing forward. And that's what we're doing. And I want to remind you that you could always be part of our show through super chats. You could always be part of our show through liking, subscribing, commenting, and becoming members and checking out our web store at YouTube, Yishai Fleischer TV. You could also directly help the show by checking out buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. And you could also support our projects at fightforisrael.org, fightforisrael.org. I am wishing you a Chag Sameach, a happy holiday. May we continue to see Israel thrive, survive. May we see those hostages come home, and then the full destruction of those neo-Nazi jihadists, the takeover of Gaza, and most importantly, the return to God. And that is part of the process that's happening right now as well. And many reports are showing that. That's a big part of it. Our return to God means our return to military strength, means more independence. It means, ironically, more independence and yet more relationships with nations that see Israel for what it is, which is a light unto the nations that they want to partner with. So there is a lot of opportunity and a lot of strength. This deal, it has good sides, it has bad sides, but the nation of Israel is stronger through the miracle of the October 7th attack, and we honor, respect, and salute all those that have fallen as victims and as fighters. And I'm not, so therefore, in no way taking their sacrifice for granted. Quite the opposite. It's their sacrifice that is bringing us, making us stronger, making us more observant, more caring about God and the Bible, and more of the nation of Israel that we're supposed to be. All right, folks, more great stuff here on this channel. I want to thank Yo, who's in Israel, my producer, who's oftentimes abroad, is now in Israel, so it's a lot of fun. Thank you very much for being with me on this live show, and God bless you, folks, wherever you are. And Chag Sameach, happy holidays. Remember, lovers of Israel from the nations, this is the holiday that you're supposed to come to Israel, and therefore I want you to really go to a Jewish person's sukkah, tell him I want to enter your sukkah so I could come to the land of Israel, and that I could be part of this great holiday and celebrate and give homage to the God of Israel. God bless you, folks, wherever you are. Stay tuned, stay connected. We'll be back, of course, Sunday when we go in our usual time live here at Yishai Fleischer TV. Bezrat Hashem, with the help of God. God bless you wherever you are, and shalom.